请大家关camera， 感恩。
敬爱的上人、常住师父、上的澳洲、纽西兰，还有各个家庭的师兄师姐们，大家好。那就要感恩幕后工作团队的付出，才让我们可以继续的安心在线上依法结缘。那这一次的线上3访式研习共有5堂课，那课程主题大家在简报上看到。这些年，从许多亲近的访视志工身上
talking about my experiences as a 自己charity work volunteer.
是第5堂课。
So this is the first class in the series,
那在
and it is also the last class in the series.
分享2点。
So we'd like to share 2 things.
是以个案，也就是以苦难为师。
So when we talk about these classes,
精进不退，
we want to say that
给予智慧。
we are able
讲师有限的智慧，还有新的分享。那期待大家
the sharing and experiences, and to be able to change them into ways that we can use them locally.
那接着我们进入这次
And
课
next,
的主题
we will start with the classes for today.
灾害援助关怀的
How we look after people.
安排这样的一个主题，主要是说义志工
The reason why we chose this is because
那因此
where do we head and where do we go after we see all this
出现在
pain and suffering in front of them, and what do we do after these disasters?
提供必要的协助。
And how do we provide the people, the victims after these disasters?
还有急难事件的关怀。
In an emergency,
关怀有一些
we need to care for people in a different way.
事情总是事发突然。
And because they come so suddenly,
或者是面对财产的损失。
there may be loss of personal items, loss of property,
压力的
and also there's a lot of psychological and emotional stress.
面对不同的灾害形态，还有急难
And so with
是在
volunteers, when we hear about these things that are happening, and faced with these situations,
关怀工作。
how do we care for these people?
特别安排
And we need a lot of experience to do so.
概念，然后
So we want to go through the practical aspects and also the theory of how we can conduct these help and these.
21世纪虽然看似是一个新
So
时
I
代，
have a video which is around 22
那样
minutes
单纯无知，
where we can
在
see
物质生活便利的情
how we conduct these disaster relief.
21世纪虽然看似是一个新时代，但人们不再如同古时候那样单纯朴质，反而在物质生活便利的情况下，变得贪嗔痴、欲望横流，过度的消费与污染，为整个地球带来暖化与垃圾问题，造成了气候变异及物种灭绝的浩劫。值此时空人士的因缘际会之下，慈济因应而创新的脚步愈走愈快，援手也愈深愈广。慈济对于困顿苦难者的扶助，一直以来都秉持着重点、直接、尊重、务实等原则，务求及时而心怀感恩地帮到需要的人。1966年第一位济贫个案，从送餐、送医、打扫到关怀，面面俱到，成为后来慈善访贫的经验依据。第二位个案是医疗补助，但后来夫妻吵架而自杀。 让上人在痛心之下确立长期复查制度。1967年，一位住在西边茅草屋的眼盲孤老李阿抛受到慈济人关怀，筹款6000元为他建造砖房。动工前由上人亲自破土，这就是第一所慈济屋。在急难救助方面，第一次是慈济成立3年多，于1969年9月台东大南村大火的赈济。虽然这是首次急难救助行动，已奠立了直接、尊重、务实等赈灾原则。1973年10月的那拉台风，灾区幅员广大，慈济首度面临如此大型的赈灾规模，上人亲领弟子筹备物资、造册发放，后续更进行复查，而规划中期、长期的济助。早期这些经历虽然走得艰辛，但日后海内外的赈灾模式却因此而点滴建立起来。
老实说呢，人人受苦难，你不去帮助他，也没有人会指责你。但是呢，我们要不忍众生受苦难，打从内心的那一份的诚恳的心，自动自化，这一份的诚意要感动了左右邻舍。那不管是前面的你，后面的我，或者是左右的你，那跟后面的他，前后你我他，我们呢都要人人呢有这一份的诚恳的诚意，合起来了，我们才是真正的那一份大爱无私的本。真正的大爱呢，人人视为呢都是我的亲人，这样才是真的大爱同情哦。一方有灾，十方关怀，大家投入帮助，我们一定要做到这样啊。
慈济的赈灾发放模式一直以来都包含救济金、慰问信、大米、日用品、衣裤、棉被或毛毯等，以帮助当地人因应最急需的生活之用。这些赈灾物资的选购也会针对各地民情不同来做调整。例如伊朗或是巴基斯坦地震后，慈济提供的食品口味就尽量调整到接近伊斯兰教徒的习惯。巴基斯坦当地民众惯用石块、野山搭建房子，独缺的屋顶就由慈济发放芯片。2005年秋，美国卡崔娜飓风重创纽奥良时，慈济人赶往关怀灾民，除了提供环保毛毯、发电机以外，其他的民生物资则改为发出现值卡，让灾民可以自行购买。
到底伊需要什么物件？是爱吃的，或者是爱穿的吼？顶顶咱唔知，所以呢，咱就给伊一张单，伊会当呢去迄个购物中心啦，随在伊去拣爱什么物件。我们本来就是要给他们物资兑换卡，迄个物件都爱伫固定的、指定的迄个，所以也不是很方便。后来呢，就给他们现金的机票，那么有时佫感觉讲，都要过去银行领钱啊吼，又嘛是赶快无讲真方便啦。所以我们发卡给他们，就自己用发卡的吼。这个刷卡呢，就是多一间店拢会当刷嘛吼，只要美国的店拢有加入迄种会当刷卡，会当买物件。但是呢，咱都有甲伊注明迄个卡呢，就注明讲酒袂用的买，粉也袂用的买， 毒品也袂用来买，枪支也不能买，哈，有四种拢袂用来买，哈。
有的地方灾难重大，人们家园普遍遭到破坏，慈济人就与当地政府合作，择地建造大爱村，让灾民能够早日恢复安居乐业的生活。但也有些原本居住在山上而受灾的人们，就地重建无法彻底摆脱受灾的风险。上人于是主张迁村，在安全的平地上建造大爱村。例如为甘肃居民迁村，台湾莫拉克风灾后建造的山林大爱园区即是其例。
我是咧想讲，甘肃呢，较输啦，伊迄山顶吼，若会当互遐个人拢来迁居吼，山顶阁卖有人大互伊吼，这个山体啦，再让它呢。安尼休息一下哈，恢复大自然的哈，让它若无哈，伊愈无水啦，伊愈要甲开啦哈，因为做无食嘛哈，所以呢，安尼人嘛生活袂落去，山呢嘛一直直破坏嘛哈，所以我是一直感觉讲吼，咱的甘肃规划，看会当较挖山骹接近黄河旁边哈。来找土地吼，那甲因迁村吼，那安尼呢，山的大地能让它恢复了大自然的生态，人呢有个安全的地方吼，安身安心安生活，安尼呢，伊嘛唔免讲吼，那这边呢，从山顶落来呢，都是几啊年袂当转去。有的呢1年多，有的几年都不能回去哈，因为太远了。咱若该抓较落来咧哈，囡仔就学也简单，要就业做工都简单嘛哈。
这个方式可以吧？可以哦。
2009莫拉克风灾后，上人呼吁山地部落居民迁村到平地，让山林休养生息。因此，与政府几经商议，将大爱村的建地设在高雄山林区。多数部落民众经过沟通后，也都同意迁居。
其中有一户，伊讲伊一家9个人，伊讲哦，即摆外口伫咧落雨啦，阮真安心、真安全伫咧内底里生活。倒是咧。伊烦恼讲哦，因的乡亲啦，抑搁伫山顶的人，是毋是平安无？我伫大爱台呢，看到因安尼安然啦，自在平安过日子，真正我的心甲伊的心同款，都会去想着讲。山顶遐的人是不是会平安呢？也是虔诚的祈祷。但愿他们在山上再也不要呢遭遇到了灾难为他们祈祷。但是再怎么样呢，还是伫生机嘛去救啦。安怎样呢？嘛是路无方便，桥长路长同样进出也是不方便。迄当阵要起遮的厝呢，有安尼的心愿，期待山顶再也不要再伤害了。但是呢，有人住的所在，有人要生活。一定呢会去伤害土地，已经呢，大地之母整个山体啦，都已经呢遍体鳞伤了。这个时阵，上重要就爱会长期养息呀。现在的土地，尤其是大山，应该呢。 爱互伊真长久的时间，重新来再养息，所以当阵真期待，拢总搬落来，咱都甘愿承担啊！
当灾难范围遍及整个城市和地区，灾民们即使想要清理家园，也苦无着力之处，往往就只能无语问苍天了。面对这样的情况，慈济人开始结合灾民起而行动，采用以工代赈的方式，让大家既能快速恢复市容，又能赚取生活所需，让原本失去一切的灾民重燃希望。以工代赈的赈灾模式，最早是于2004年菲律宾风灾后开始，后来在2009年台湾莫拉克风灾与菲律宾凯沙纳风灾后，广为使用来进行重建工作，并以这2次的经验作为日后慈济在其他国家地区沿用的赈灾模式。
这种灾难啊，过后的清扫真非常的辛苦啊！水退了以后，泥土非常难以清理，满街垃圾，满巷子那个塞得满满啊！人人去了之后，都是很难闻的味道。不过那个时候，台湾啊，真的是无以为报，以善以爱为宝啊！所以整个台湾的每一个地方，从北到中啊，都能投入灾区。几天之内，10几万人呐，投入啊，去帮助清扫。那这样的大动员的付出啊，已经恢复生活，生机提升了啦。但是菲律宾呢，我们就可以想象，慈济人呐，同样是投入，只是差在呢，他们的人数，慈济人数不多，所以要动员呢，就谈不上了。一下子几天之内，10几万人在受灾地区呢，穷困人家占大多数。这一群穷困人本来都是很脏乱，在这一波呢，一看到了就手软了，不知道要如何从哪里做起。好在有慈济人来带动啊，来不只是你自己做，大家一起做，大家一起来，大家有做有工资，那就是以工代赈，可以清理自己的家园，同时呢，也可以呢赚一点生活费啊。整片土地呢，一条一条巷道啦，一条一条的清，快快把它打通，投入来打扫的都能吃到了热便当啊。这都是呢，也都是在救济，也都是安他们的生活，也都是呢在清扫他们自己的家园。那我的邻居也帮助我，我帮助我的邻居。想一想，的确，自己一个人要清理这么大片，当然呢是没有力量啊。但是那付出去爱别人，很自然 别人的爱呢，也带动起来，也兼爱到了自己。看看人人啊，伸出了他们的双手，那么拿起了铲子啊，一人一铲，那清净家园呐，再加上了慈济人这样的带动呢，互助互爱，那人心就是带动那整片呢很脏很脏的地方啊，那也都变成了干净的地方。
以工代赈的模式，在2010年海地大地震时改为以工公粮。
只要你一个人有出来做代志，那就是全家都可以温饱吼。啊，因要做啥代志，咱就是请因讲吼，清扫街啊咯。你若要来领物件，啊，你就爱先落去清扫。啊，一天的中间，不管食2顿，不管食3顿，吼，总是呢先互你食饱。啊，你要转去呢，就带恁家的人的粮食回家吼，这叫做以工共粮。那就是这一段时间我们在海地所做的方式。
当泰国在2011年遭遇严重水灾的时候，上人也指示慈济人以台湾和菲律宾的经验来帮助泰国政府快速复原。
灾难那么的大哦，他们也是6神无主啊，怎么办呢？我们的慈济人在那里啊，我天天都要跟他们自训呢，我要教他们怎么做哦。我就说了，台湾的88水灾莫纳克台风，我们从基隆、台北新竹一路下去哦，8天了，15万外人动员哦，高雄啊、屏东在地人啊，他们就说北部的都来了，我们的南部能不动吗？所以都动员起来很快经济复苏把这样的台湾互动的情形就拿到泰国去跟他分享。同时呢，我也要菲律宾的慈济的执行长，我也要他呢到泰国去跟商业界的人士分享。因为菲律宾卡萨那风灾菲律宾的又是淹大水，又是发生大火水深火热啊。那个时候呢，整个马利吉纳市的都是在水中，要怎么做啊？换我天天跟菲律宾呢视讯，每一个早上都说你今天要多少人出去，要如何以工代赈结果呢？第1天几十人第2天几百人到最后呢将近1万人。因为灾难那么大，我们要救济，倒不如呢请他们自己来打扫他自己的家园，我们才帮助他，叫做以工代赈。这1万多人呢，几天内就把整个城市呢都很干净的打扫出来了。那这样的经验我就要我们的执行长去泰国去开那个工商会所以从这样开始呢，这个总理他就开始宣布呢，政府以工代赈，你们咱去出钱，咱敢若用咱的经验会。所以讲起来，咱台湾做起点，咱会当做典范去跟人分享咱有爱呢，会当及时付出。所以因在菲律宾，在穷人以工代赈以后呢，因呢，咱慈济人不放弃他们也不离开慈济人，所以这1万多人呢，都已经呢戒烟、戒酒、戒赌博还戒赌而且呢，这1万多人呢，咱搁再给职业训练训练因呢勤奋、节俭、勤快所以今晚 迄个所在的人拢改变了啦，这就是一个真成功的个案，真正是真感恩。泰国也是安尼哦，这都是所有的慈济人啊，共同呢的爱呢，可以洒向了全球哦。所以我们要平安呐，平安呢不断付出哦，那这就是福啦，有福呢。对，当消弭灾难呐。
感恩上人为我们的开示。
Thank you, Master, for giving us your thoughts and teaching us. So the few take-home messages from the video. So Master talks about the main core message or values that we need to receive from the video is that on the spiritual side, we must elevate suffering and be proactive in our providing care for other people. And we must keep up to date and adapt to local conditions and local needs. And understand the cultural needs or the difference in culture and difference in traditions to be able to make our distribution fit the local niche or the local adaptation, and be able to provide the necessary goods and the necessary items for the local population. And we need to think about the long-term, short-term to medium impact and how we plan for the relief. And what resources we have. For example, can we bring people together to unite hearts? Or is there any other methods that we can use? Can we partner with other organizations? And how we can get the local communities to start to work together? Or is there any local NGOs or any local governments that are willing to come together to help restore the environment and restore the local economy? So this relief work,
我们要产生什么样的影响呢？也就是诚恳的带动，那希望社区能够做互助，这样的力量汇聚之后才会大，也才会
and these communities support each other and be more resilient.
快的恢复常态的生活。那更重要
and to be able to return back to normal as soon as possible.
发生之后
，and when this happens,
要更加的去用心去
we need to think about how we can inspire people to return back to their innate pure heart. Master often tells us that when we hear about suffering in this world, we must quickly go and assist them. But we must also purify hearts and prevent these.
太原度关怀比较有关的一些基本的概念。那第一个部分是在于
We'd like to share some of the core values. And what kind of reasons will we go and support these people? So Master told us from her teachings that we must have a humanitarian aid in our minds.
团体很重要的一个价值所在。那第二个
local NGOs, faith-based organizations play a big part in this relief work.
那再来的话，其实就是上人
And what kind of aspirations do we have? And how can we get people to help each other? Well, people say the faraway water cannot help the close fire. So we must understand what is around and what resources are around that they can utilize and
那灾害援助关怀的目的呢？其实
So what are the goals of disaster relief? So the first one is to give them spiritual and emotional support, to allow them to understand that people are caring for them. It could be small, like one community or one particular area. Sometimes if it's big, for example, the disaster is really big, it could be, say, a lot of flooding or earthquakes. So these are things that we cannot prepare for because we never know when it's happening. And when this happens, the victims are usually filled with stress or with a lot of anger. And some communities, especially if their family supports are not very strong, they're not very resilient. So they are not able to support themselves. So they need a lot of outside help and a lot of outside support. The Blue Angels, like ourselves, are well known in a lot of communities. And so when we go into these areas, when our brothers and sisters go into these areas to support these victims, a lot of elderly people who are living alone, they feel a lot of their stress or fear. They really want to tell our brothers and sisters, and this is one of the ways that we are able to support them emotionally. And this is a very important part of a disaster relief. Another thing that is very important is to understand the needs of these disaster victims. What kind of problems will they face and issues they are facing already, and to provide a substantial or practical assistance. For example, a lot of these immediate disasters or temporary situations, it's not the norm. It doesn't happen all the time. So it can change the way the family is, or for example, affect their property. And sometimes it will directly affect their the money that we need to see what kind of assistance we can provide, and to be able to provide these assistance timely. Because we need to understand that when disasters happen, it is not something that is of the norm. So we want them to quickly return back to normal life. And we need to plan ahead as well to understand in the future, how can we assist them along this journey to return back to normality. So what we are doing is we are community, supporting each other and creating a web of support and assistance. So what role can we have during this disaster relief? So we see that a lot of brothers and sisters will go in and provide food and backup support for the people that are the first line workers or the first line responders of the disaster, and see if there are any any holes in the services. For example, if they are they have been if they've gone to hospital or other support centers, we can go and visit these support centers, hospitals, and to see what needs they have, and to be able to liaise with other NGOs or other frontline workers to be able to form a web of support. There is a few main things. The first thing is safety. So when we go to disaster areas, what are the things that they need directly? For example, support they need, food they need, and what we must respect them, and we must not give false hope, or we must not give promises that we cannot keep. And these relief or these assistance that we provide has to be practical and timely. But we must remember that being timely is not hastily putting things together, but it is understanding their needs and to be able to respond to these needs. So, for example, if there are people in hospital, we can go to the hospital to really see what's happening and to be able to understand what it is that they need. And we must be careful that we are not interfering with the work that the doctors or the nurses are doing. We're just there to provide support and care. So we hope that we are able to help people entirely, the people, the family, and the whole team, and through the whole process as well. Because a disaster can have a lot of issues within the family. Even if one person is affected directly, all the other members of the family may be indirectly affected by the same disaster. And in the different stages throughout this journey of recovery, they may have different needs and different levels of effectiveness. For example, in a plane crash, we may, even after the plane crash, we will still follow up with these families to see if they need more support. And depending on the size of the disaster or the severity of the disaster, we are able to see what kind of needs and respond to the different needs. So we must go and make assessments and to be able to support and understand who is the most affected and how we can support them. But we must also look after ourselves and take care of ourselves during this process. So after a disaster, it is very important to make assessments of the needs and support that we can provide. So first, how do we do that? We must see what the victims are saying and hear their voices. After the disaster, a lot of victims, they are not able to voice out what they need or what exactly what support they need, because these disasters are not the norm. So it is not something that we see or experience often. So we are often in shock. And we don't know how we can respond or react to it. And a lot of them, because they've never experienced such a situation, they have never asked for help for people. And so they're maybe under a lot of stress, or they are not able to think logically through what they need or what supports they need to have. So because of this, a lot of the time, when we go and assess the situation, the volunteers will write down and note down and report back on what's happening with these families, or what's the situation on the ground, and what do they need, and what's future problems they may encounter. So we are able to make changes, and we are able to work out a plan to help these people. Sometimes, for example, if they are faced with fire accidents, the victims, everything's burned down, so they can't return back to home. They might not have a lot of money on them, so they might need a place to stay, or they might not have clothes to wear. These are all the very practical problems they may face. And so our brothers and sisters may find a place for them to stay, or see if there are any governmental assistance that can be provided. And, or for example, if there are any chances of us finding clothes, secondhand clothes, or temporary lodgings that they can stay in. And we must think about, and we must be able to see some seek professional recommendations and help. And this is because a few years ago there was explosion in the theme park called Bahian, and there's a lot of children that were affected, and it was very hard for families. And so we had asked experts on how we can help and how we can support these families through the arduous journey of recovery. So because this is not, this situation is, or this is disasters are unexpected. So there are a lot of reactions. They often cannot accept that such a disaster has happened, or they don't know how to respond to this disaster, and have a lot of sadness or shock. First thing they might they might reject that this situation has happened, and disbelief. They might say, no, this is not happening. No, this is not what's happening. And they might not believe. For example, when I went out this morning, everything was all right. He said, he or she said they were coming back. So they'll deny that this is occurring. And when they accept that this has happened, they will be angry, So this is the stages of grief. So the second stage will be anger. So they will think, I told him not to go, or I said something, and sometimes they will be angry at the organizations that are coming to help them out, or there's other family members, and they will argue with them or bargain. So they will bargain saying, if I do this, or give me that, or and then they will feel frustrated. And they will not be able to, they will feel depressed. And they will not be able to, and when they feel depressed or they're low on energy, and then they start to accept that this is what's happening. So the last stage will be acceptance. So it will be denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And so if we are able to understand this is the stages that they will go through, and the emotions that they will feel when we interact with them, in the first instance, when they don't give us good feedback or they don't give us positive messages, we shouldn't be upset, or we shouldn't feel like we are hurt by their response, because this is all very normal human responses towards dealing with grief and unexpected changes. So when we see this, or when we feel this and we understand, we will not be so angry or frustrated when we go and help people. And throughout this process, we can look for different organizations that will be able to support their needs. So there are 6 stages of the disaster relief care model. So the first is that we need to find and assess what's happening. And this could be through news reports, it could be through governmental reports, or even going directly there. And we need to go and talk to other organizations or the service center that is there to be able to understand what's happening and to be able to liaise. The next thing we must do is that we must go to these families and these communities in need to directly understand what it is that they need. And when we talk to these victims and understand their needs, we are able to develop a plan, how we can care for them, how we can assist them, and how we can utilize and implement this plan. For example, when we go and implement, it could be a distribution, or it could be, say, caring for them or financial aid. And then after, when we come back, it could be on site or it could be back in the office. We are able to feedback and be able to evaluate what we've done. And this will be able to be part of the development for next time. So there's a few techniques that we use when we are interacting with the victims. So this is a little it is quite similar, but there are a few differences. So when we go and see these victims, we must clarify our identity. So this is very important. When we go to families and make assessments, we are not conducting an interview with them, or we must use a method that is softer. For example, in a flood, and our sisters or brothers have arrived there, we'll say, "Hi, I am from Tzu I'm a Tzu volunteer. We, on behalf of Dao Master Zheng Yan, we are here to care and to help." So we must let them know the purpose of our visit. And we may be able to help them clean up their houses. And when we are doing that, we can interact with them and talk to them. If they want to talk, they will, talk to us and what's happening, or what supports they need, etc. And they might talk to us about what actually happened on the day. So when they say that, we can care for them and give them some words of encouragement or words of care, and to gently ask them what kind of support or care they may need. Another very important thing is we must observe and see, for example, when we ask questions, how they reply to these questions, or if there any body language that they have conducted. So we can continue these conversations naturally by the way they reply to our answers. Or if, for example, we feel like the interaction is good and their response level is high, we can ask a few more questions. We can give them, for example, a little bit of physical contact. For example, if that is appropriate, to say, give them a pat on the back, or ask them if they would want a hug. So it is important for us to ask first, because different regions may have different physical contact protocols and traditions or etiquette. And we must also think about, is there any need for us to continue to see what supports they have, or continue to follow up? Because some may not need more support, but whilst others may need support. So we can just add them onto the list that needs to be followed up. And it is through these conversations and interactions, we will understand whether they will need any follow-up support. And if there are any actions or any supports that they require. So sometimes they might not need any financial or material support, but it is more of an emotional or spiritual support. So for example, there are a lot of, for for example, plane crashes, where they don't really need a lot of money or a lot of materials, but because they are waiting for their the family members, the body of the family members, so we are there on the beach next to them, waiting with them and supporting them through this process. For example, providing some snacks or maybe some daily necessities, just being there alongside them. And when they have emotional breakdown, or if they have any health issues and problems, to be able to support them timely. So this kind of emotional support is very important. So we must remember a few things that we need to follow up on. So we must look after our own health and safety. At the first instance, there is a lot of pressure to provide support, and even some of these disasters we have never faced before. So if we need to talk to people, or if we need some emotional support ourselves, we must quickly let other people know. So we are able to talk about it, and we are able to continue to help other people. And we can use, for example, so I would like to talk about a few cases. So the first case.
This is the actual cases that has happened in the 2016 on the 3rd of December. And this is in Taipei in the Luzhou. This is affected 2,000 square meter. This is about 30 factories are destroyed, and nobody are hurt and died. But there is a very big loss on the economic. We can have a look of what the brother and sister are doing.
熊熊大火燃烧，烈焰冲天。3号傍晚，新北市泸州区民族路一处联动式的铁皮工厂发生火警，火势一发不可收拾。
后边这个是堆，这个是堆，这个堆木头底下，这个还多条诶。有啊，我们这有堆床里面啊。
起火工厂是餐具、家电、布料仓储，很多都是易燃物。消防队员打火不易，当地慈济志工也在获报后立即赶往现场后援。
我们就到5点多来的时候，师兄几位在这里哈，就马上赶快去处理那个矿泉水，还有面包。对，那个还有面包哎呀。
由于火势难以扑灭，消防人员不断支援，疲于奔命，志工也启动热食供应。
这个时间是很长的，就赶快请师姐哈，在我们静思堂赶快煮热食哈。他们想要一点那个电解质的东西，矿泉水哈，那他们也都赶快搬出来，所以我们可以感受到哈这样的一个热情跟温暖。
这场大火延烧了5个多小时，幸好无人受困伤亡。至于详细起火原因，将交由火灾鉴识人员调查。大爱新闻之声李志工、王有路台北。
This is this picture is after the fire. This is the on site. This after the fire. Then brother and sister quickly go to the site and then to assess, and they talk to the related organization, and they get some information, and then we sit down and talk with the team leader in that area. When we went to the factories, and after we listened to the victims, what we heard and what we saw. Some victims, they lived in the factory, so all of the procession are destroyed and they have nothing. They only have their own clothes. So they have to go to the temporary accommodation that's arranged by the district office or stay with their relatives and friends. The most important is when we have seen that because they have nothing, they lost all of their possession, though they have a lot of negative emotions, such as the fear, desire, anger, worry, and unwillingness in their hearts, and they worry too much. There's a lot of negative emotions. Because some of them said that a few days before the fire, they just bought a lot of machinery for their factory use. So everything is lost, and a lot of them, they're not insured. So they worry about the future a lot. Then we continue to look at the victims when they go back to the factories to clean up. And then brother and sister quickly to arrange our how we going to help them, how we can help them. And then they draw the pictures about the positions and all the for all the factories, and then it's convenient for us to do our distribution later. And we sent them the constellation letter from Master Jin Yin out some money, and then some of the this material aid.
就怕需要的人找不到协助，于是关怀团队就在火场旁设立定点服务站。设立的第一天，就有不少的受灾厂商来寻求帮忙。随着天气越来越冷，前一天团队所遇见的小荣也带着孩子来到这里。
我们这边有衣服，要不要？也有一些保暖的。如果需要的话，哈，就可以。这是新的哦，这很保暖的。我看你是穿 S。我们是 M 号吧 ？M 啊，对，这么色的。可以。好，你慢慢看没关系。这个多少的？多少的？M 号。还有我们那个外套，很保暖，看一看，这可以了。对啊，好，量一下就好了。OK， 拿，这可以拿2件，可以替换。现在刚好哈，有一点冷了哈。对啊，拿2件来。那你老公的，你要不要帮他选一下？他的size都很大。还有size都。有，我们这里有男生的。这张最大的是这个可以有伸缩，应该没有关系。这个有没有 XL？
小荣很腼腆，一群志工围绕在旁，就像妈妈似的，帮他考虑东考虑西，心里没说出口的，志工都设想周到。
这个你要拿几件都可以，你总共有6件，这6号的，嘿，就是105公分到110。好，那我拿3套、4套都可以。4件好了，好，谢谢。再收起来。
昨天我问他先生说，他当下好忙哦，又要照顾这个，又要照顾那个，我没有办法搬。后来自己家反而没有搬到。对啊。你们都还年轻。从头再来。
看到孩子的衣物，终于露出笑容。但对于当天的那场大火，小荣心中的恐惧依旧。
我也是要顾小孩，我就怕我老公我里面臭。哦，对啊，真的。
对啊，关难啊，关过了，他都已经度过了。
最基本的生活起居先安稳了，重新再来都不是问题。 慈济的定点服务站也布置了温馨的小圆桌，提供休息和讨论的场地。
到时候单据啊那些，再点一起给他，他印章。
所以那个发票章对不对？还有对不对？
对，全部都要
发票章印章，反正印章你处理啦。要不然等下下午去工厂，就先看怎么剪，能用就用。
简单的茶水、医药箱，服务每天不断更新，便当、点心直接送进了工厂里。对于安全的部分也考虑到了。
因为阮昨就是有去现场看灾嘛吼，然后看到他们这个受灾的乡亲吼，因为了要整理因的工厂吼，工厂会塌下来，其实是蛮危险的，就怕他们的头啊吼去撞到啊、割到啊。嗨，我那个在吗？那个滕小姐
在里面来。
Hello。我们戴那个安全帽来。
安全帽来。
不好走哦。
这样不好走哈。
小心哦。来，你老公呢？谢谢。带着比较安全。
那个先那边给他一顶那个。
从满地的物品中挑出可用的零件。就在火灾的前一晚，这家3C 电子业工厂才刚进了一货柜的产品。
他先生很棒，有很多东西是自己的专利。他们一些厂商很棒，就是知道他们发生这件事情，然后都会变成是用现金给他们。
这时，眼尖的志工又从服务站载来了椅子。
好，谢谢。
庞大的财务损失无法立即解决，但每一个关心就是一股力量。这时，志工心里还惦记着，天色晚了，气温逐渐下降，小荣的先生没衣服可换。
这边都是大。
这个是大。
这一个这样。
好。
这个短面，就3的 XL 呢，3L。哎呀，短面吗？
就可以了。
你这多吗？
有啦，免怀疑啦。你少年人这。
年轻人去种的啦。年轻人。老的。
这件不错。
对呀，不过这3L， 我头较短点就是，好不好？咖啡精呀。
对。
东挑西看，挑尺寸，挑材质，也挑颜色。
那里没有那么大，
差不多小 size，
所以才需要来这边再找。因为看他们忙进忙出的，衣服都脏了，都没时间来换，没有时间就来买啊。所以想来给伊找一个，好。
3L， 提供3L。
因为伊当咧拼就是可能是要较乌色的较袂垃圾。那个年轻的老板他的爸爸妈妈都也不在了，妈妈是癌症往生，也都不在了。你们那个老板在吗？
小腾，
你老公在吗？还有这个是刚才去采购的。跟你老公买的，
谢谢，感谢，
跟你老公结缘，
对，全部给你，全部新的，谢谢。
然后我们还特别想说，老公还年轻，所以买一些年轻的颜色，
穿上去。
你觉得他可以穿吗？
刚去买的，这个应该可以，可以哈，是特别选特大的，对啊。
穿上去活力更加十足。
好，谢谢，谢谢，谢谢。
世间财，五家共有，一旦碰到，财物即去，无法强求，只有心中的温暖，永久留存。
Yeah, after we have seen this video, we can see that what we think of and what we can do. That is the 4 points. Then we send them the consolation money. Then they can use it for their pocket money. And then we are setting up the station, service station. This is the relief aid station, this on the side. In this aid station, we can supply the clothes and then blankets and then helmet and some hot food and some drink. Why we have this aid station? Because we want to because these victims, they are not coming to the factories every day. So when they go back to the factories to clean up and to check, they can go to find us on the aid station. Then they get the clothes and the blanket and then the hot food, and they can get it straight away. Then you can see that from the video, we supply the helmet as well, because they might not think about that, because when we go to assess, we can see that they might need it, because this is a little bit dangerous to clean up under the not very stable roof. Then we can see that some of them are very busy to clean up the factory. So we give them the lunch boxes, then they can have something to eat straight away. Then they can take a rest and then sit down to have lunch with us. Then we can see how we can help them. When they are willing to talk, then we can know more about them. Then we have the dressing activities, and then we will invite them. When they are cleaning up, we go to visit them, and then we invite them to attend these dressing activities. Then hope that they have a very calm heart, and then they can back to their normal life. And we have the follow up this arrangement. We have the name list. After this disaster, about 1 month, then of the disaster, we will ring them and then to see what we can help them at that stage. Then we will care them after the disaster. Usually when they receive a phone call, they will be very moved, because they think that we are still caring about them. This is the second real case. This is the 27th of June, 2015. This is in the Basin Water Park. This is the powder explosion. This is 499 people are hurt. Most of them, a lot of them are young people. That's inside this 499 because they are really complete burnt, and 15 people are died from this. This is after the in Taiwan 921 earthquake. This is the most casualties for the gathering accident. Then when our brother and sister heard about the news, for the water park, they have the powder explosion. They said that in the night group, this should be very severe, very critical conditions. So what can they do? Then they go straight away with the uniform. When they see all the young people lie down on the ground, Then you can see that from the video. And then all these young people are waiting for the ambulances to send them to the different hospitals. Then what they are doing, what sisters are doing, they help, they are sitting by the side, then they give them some light, and because it is in dark in the evening, and they give them the mineral water to put it onto the wound. And then they lend the mobile phone to the young people to let them to ring home. And when all these young people are sent to the hospital by the ambulances, our brothers and sisters still in this on site to wait for any parents or anybody want to find all these young people. In the hospital, we go to different hospital, we get the permission first to ask the hospital if we can go inside to care about the family of the victims. We accompany them and talk to them, and then you can see that from the video. This is one pair of hands and one hug, and then this is how we care about the families. They will give them some warmth. Then what we saw and what we heard in the hospital, that is two group of people that we are caring. The first group is the victim's parents, the family. The second group is the young people, the ones who are hurt. Then look at the parents first. They can, when they go to the hospital, when they heard that they are very seriously burned, they have very negative emotions. Then some of them even died when they arrived hospital. They always have the emotion that is dissatisfaction, because for the daughter, they are so beautiful before, and then she's so active and very good at academic, but suddenly come to seriously hurt. Then some of the parents, they rush from the other states. They do not think about where they will stay tonight, and then what do I eat. They have no idea, because they are not familiar with the places. They have no mind to think about all other things, because they focus on the children. And some of them may come from the children come from the single parent family, because they have to look after the children. So they lost their income. They cannot go back to work. So from the children, we can see they will have some requests. For example, we can see that the nurses and the medical staff, they will tell us that they will need some high protein and vitamin, and this will help them to heal their wounds. And they need to change the dressing all the time, because to let the wounds to be healed more quickly, they need some expensive dressing, some equipment, some material, and this might have the financial burden on the parents. So then this is what we heard and from the hospital. Then and the other thing is when the nurses change the dressing for the children, they are very pain. They scream and they cried. Then all our brother and sister, they heard about this. When the parents and hear about the voices and the screaming of the children, they will feel very distressed and very painful in the heart. And the brother and sister explained that when they change the dressing, and all the skin will come out as well. And when they are doing the rehab, and then the first day they might do it very good. Maybe the next day they will go back to not very good. So it is not feasible. So let the brother and sister have very painful in the heart. Let us look at this one. That is what we do in the hospital and on site.
彻底崩坏的重生了，曾经伤害的愈合了，不愿离开的回来了，害怕孤单的幸福了。 爱的夜空有流星的河，听爱的心中奇迹在唱歌。我们每一个都是被祝福的，因为我们的爱很大。爱很大，有你有我有他。爱很大，我们一起大声唱。爱很大，发射温暖的阳光。爱很大。 流泪的微笑了，支离破碎的完整了，枯萎凋谢的开花了。爱爱的天空有和平的歌，听爱的心中交响着快乐，我们每一个都是被祝福的，因为我们的爱很大。爱很大，有你有我有他。爱很大，我们一起大声唱。爱很大，它是
It's been a few years. When we look back this video, I still have the emotion. I still have some emotion from looking back this video, because this is the emergency disaster, and this is so many years. We are still following up for all these cases. When you can see that from the videos, there is a lot of the children. They are hurt, they burned. What they are doing now? At that time, when they are sent to the different hospitals, this is really in an emergency stage. Then brothers and sisters go to the different hospitals, not only Chi Hospital and some other hospital as well. And then what we do in the emergency stage, and then we comfort the family and the parents, and then we give them the consolation money. Then let them have the emergency financial help. And then after we talk to them, we can know that if they need some financial help or not. If they need it, we will assess and we will give them some financial assistance. And we always supply them some living allowance, just like if they cannot arrange for the meals, and then our brother and sister will give them our lunch boxes, and then maybe they have nowhere to stay. They want to look after the children, so we will give them our recycling bags. Then they can stay by the children in the ward. Then they can live with their children in the same ward. And then some brother and sister will and make some food that is in high protein, then give the families, the parents, give them to eat, give to the children to eat. And we will get the medical staff, their wives, to buy the children some nutrition supplements from the store. Then they can have more nutrients other than the food, the normal food. And then we will maybe support them the medical equipment or some material. They will have financial burden on the families. And then we comfort the families through chatting when some of the children, they pass away. There's 15 of them. So we comfort the families as well. If they in Hualien, we have some chatting activities. If the parents want, we accompany them to attend in the early morning. We can see that from the video. This is very special case. Why we have to harvest the grapes? Because one of the family, this is the harvest time, and then they have the grape farm in the urban area. So when they go, all of them go to look after the child, so nobody to pick the grapes. So it will be quite a great loss if no one to pick the grapes, because this is family business. So all the brother and sister, they go to help them to pick the grapes. Then after harvesting all the grapes, they put in the boxes and then distribute to the different hospitals to give back to the medical staff. Thank you for them to look after all these children and give them a lot of treatment. This about half a year after the disaster, after this water park explosion. They continue to accompany the parents and then the children until they are recovered from the hospital and go back home. Then after they go back home, they do not stop their visit. They still go to the houses to have charity visits. And some of them, we bring them up to us about the recovery and how are they coping. There's a lot of children. They have a very serious burns. And they have the high pressure garments. They need to put on all the time, except they go to have a shower. If not, they always put it on. And then one time when some of them go to see our master, masters saw that this is very tight. We can see that the garment that they put on are very tight. So master asked our technology team if they can invent some garment, just like high pressure garment. Can they invent it and they tested, and then after that, and they give it to the children to see if it is effective or not. So all our brother and sister participate onto this team. They tested and they give it to the children to test, and then they make the negotiation with the technology company if they are effective or not. And we supply the material, and then we invent this material, this high pressure garment, and then we give it to this organization called Yangguang organization, and they will make this with make the gear, the clothes with this material to see to give it to the children to put on. At the end of this class, I want to share with you for this disaster care is the empathetic thinking and the sincere interaction. And I say sorry to you because every time when I look at this video, I have my emotion come back, because this video I made it myself, and this disaster, the whole process I come through. I am accompany the parents and the children. Yeah, we treat the children as our children, and then we use the parents' heart to look after them. And then for the parents and the family, just look like our sibling and brothers and sisters. Although it's past 5 years already, I still have this is quite accident for myself that this emotion is quite a long period. And this is the 5 classes, the last the class we have a sharing for Australia and New Zealand, and they share what they have done and what they improved during these classes, training classes. Then I hope that the other brother and sister, if you want to say something, you can say later. Then what you have done, what you improved from these training classes. If anybody willing to share, you are very welcome to put your feedback and your sharing in YouTube. Then after sharing, I have a small gift to give it to everyone. Then I pass it to Julia, our MC.
Thank you, Brother Chen Bing. Now we are entering the sharing and the presentation session. Can you please turn on your video? Thank you, everyone. Firstly, we want to invite from New Zealand, Sister Sarah Liu to share. Master Chen Yan, Vulnerable Masters of the Abode, fellow brothers and sisters, and all Searchy volunteers from Australia and New Zealand. Good morning, Amitabha. Today, I'm very thankful to Brother Chen Bing to use his time to lecture us, to share with us on very important an integral part of the charity session. We know what Master have taught us before. Charity is the roots of Searchy, and home visits are an integral aspect of that. Not only through charity, we are actually relieving pain and suffering of people, and most importantly, allowing us to help with charity and relief to relieve suffering. So we better understand how blessed we are through seeing the suffering of others. From what brothers sharing in these 5 sessions, we actually, to me, I'm particularly interested in the 4th session, charity work and the 10 abodes of Bodhisattva. The Dharma Master Cheyenne has often said that Bodhisattva, our Searchy volunteers, coming together when they are suffering to help, as defined as an enlightened sentient being. To be a Bodhisattva in this world, one must walk on the Bodhisattva path. You must walk in the society to interact with sentient beings. And the work of charity is the most direct way. During charity work, there will often be challenges between people, situations, and things. To be able to overcome this without afflictions, we will need the 10 abodes of Bodhisattvas to help and to accompany and to relieve suffering. Master always say that we are the Bodhisattva if we can help and help the people who suffer. So today, like I said, what brothers Chen Ming have been teaching us, if we can actually walk this Bodhisattva path and do charity work, this is what we to help people with suffering. This is what we want to walk the path to relieve the suffering. So aren't we are the Bodhisattva? So yes, we are. In helping them, we are actually helping ourselves too. When we see them, when we help them with the suffering, we feel in our hearts that we have peace, and we feel joy in helping them. So when we provide help and do this charity work, we actually overcome our own afflictions, and we actually learning and still doing, and then give us this opportunity to help others. So we must become a to be a bodhisattva. We must walk this bodhisattva path, and through charity work, we can help and reflect upon ourselves, encourage ourselves, and develop from here. By doing this, we must also be more hardworking and concentrate, and then with courage, and we must try our very best to go and help. Amitabha, thank you. Thank you, Sister Sarah Liu's sharing. And the next, we invite Sister Lee May from Gold Coast to share with us. Master Chen Yang, Venerable Masters of the Abode, and brothers, sisters, and everyone good. I am Gold Coast Sister Lee May. Firstly, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Brother Jim Ming, and the team for organizing and sharing these experiences and advice with us. From here, I actually learned a lot, especially with this charity menu. We are able to look through it, use it as a reference anytime. I believe if with these sessions and as we practice what we do, we will improve eventually. Today, I want to share a charity case with you. It's a Libyan man, Ibrahim, with his wife and 3 daughters, respectively, aged 8, 6, and 4. At that time, without the right visas, they were unable to receive any government support. Also, and then from there, we supported them with food parcels for over a year. We as a team also help with us paying for some expenses and food parcels for the family for over a year. Every time when I send the parcels to their family, I also use the opportunity to show my care and love for their family. One time, I prepared a box of markers and a few coloring in books along with the food parcels for the youngest daughter. Because it was Monday, so I thought the 2 older daughters would have been at school, so I didn't prepare anything for them. But never thought when I arrived at the family, the whole family was there. So I apologetically say, sorry, I didn't think that the 2 children was at school, so I did not prepare gifts for them. So I only prepared the gift for the little one, but didn't prepare for the elder daughters. Ibrahim immediately replied, when we give the children gift, we usually each one will have 1 gift. We will not only buy for 1. At first, I was shocked, Then I thought this father is actually full of love for his daughters. He didn't want to hurt the feeling of his two elder daughters. So after leaving the place, I went straight to the market and bought 2 more gifts. I then returned to their home and gave the 2 older daughters their presents. So one day, as close to Christmas, I went for another visit to their home. At the time, it was really hot that day. So Ibrahim told me, the weather is so hot and my children really love to have ice cream, but I cannot afford it. At the time, I felt happy because I immediately thought that if I could be of help to someone else, it is I can be their lucky star or savior for that day. Like what Master said, when people need help from you at that time, you are their lucky star. So at the time, I know what I should do. So that's why during doing charity work, there are lots of unpredictable situations. I enjoy charity visits because whilst the suffering is a teacher for our growth, I'm also learning to take care of myself. There are so many more fields and blessings we can sow in among our communities. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gold Coast Sister Lee May. The next one, we want to invite Sister Adelaide, a sister from Adelaide, Sister Lee Chu Ong. Thank you. Master Chinyevan Masters, good afternoon. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you all. This class was the first of its kind, focusing on charity work training. I gained a lot from this class, from every class, and thank you to Brother Chen Ming and the whole team for presenting the entirety of charity work processes and advice on both the practical and spiritual aspects, processes during charity visits. This advice are very much treasured and will assist us in passing on the Searchy spirit to our new charity volunteers. In these classes, not only we have gained many practical skills by reviewing and reflecting my charity experiences, I discovered many areas of needing improvement and how I can go about doing so. I'm also very touched that during the class, I was even more able to understand how to put Master's teaching of purifying one's mind into our charity work. Understanding that sometimes without much thought, I have inserted stereotypes and misconceptions into my observations of situations. Thank you, Brother Chen-Ming, for reminding me to see each case as a teaching movement and integrating Dharma to be able to solve the variety of complex situations and learn from them. We hope to continue to have more of these classes to give us the opportunity to keep improving. Yeah. So we very thankful with this session. Give us opportunity to continue improving. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sister Lee Chu. Follow on, we have Brother Wayne from Mandarin. Brother Wayne from Melbourne to share with us.
中文频道用中文的重点提示跟大家做一个简单的翻译。Wayne, you can start your sharing now. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Wayne from Melbourne. I would just like to thank the host over the last 4 weeks for his lessons. I must admit that when I did my training 2 years ago and went to become a commissioner last year, I didn't have as much understanding as what I did after these lessons. And I'm very grateful for what I've been able to learn over the last 4 weeks. I believe now going forward, I will be very much able to sort of help people out more with the home visits. I think what I've learned from these lessons over the last 4 weeks is that it's good to see that you can open your communication with people when you go to a home visit and share. It's really hard for me to explain, but sort of being a Westerner, sometimes our approach is a little bit different. And the CG approach, I think, is a lot more caring and a lot more understanding. And now that I've been able to learn a lot more from these lessons, I can actually put these learning concepts into practice now so that when I do go to a home visit, I think I'll be more capable and I'll be more understanding towards exactly what's happening. The understanding process of sort of going into a home visit is trying to make the client comfortable. And if you know that when you go into a home visit and each one of the people have a specific task to do, I think it makes it a lot easier for the client themselves to relate to you, and it makes them more comfortable. And if we can sort of go into these sort of home visits and not bring our own personalities into those home visits, it makes it so much more easier as well for the volunteers to sort of get through the information they want to. The other thing that I'm looking at going forward is that now that I've actually done a few home visits, I believe that I will be able to sort of address the situation a lot easier. Just going forward, I had a home visit just recently where we visited a family in Dandenong, and when I got there, I wasn't feeling totally comfortable because I wasn't prepared. And after looking at all these and listening to all the sort of like, how can we put it, the lessons that we've gone through, I know now that that home visit for me wasn't very, very successful. When I went in there, I didn't think I was prepared. I wasn't really, I didn't really understand what was going on. And we didn't have that sort of like communication with the volunteers before or even after we did the home visit. I felt like it was a little bit sketchy for me. And if we're going to sort of really appreciate and do what we want to do and help those people out effectively, I think we need to do what we've been taught over the last 4 weeks, and that's communicate with each other, make sure we understand the client's needs and understand the client's details, and going forward, we can most probably be more effective in the way we can help them. So I'm very grateful for the last 4 weeks, and I'm quite sure that going forward that I will be a lot more effective volunteer when I deal with clients. Thank you, everybody.
感恩问师兄
Thank you,
的
Brother Wayne from Melbourne, for your sharing.
感恩各地的菩萨家人
Thank you
的分享
all sharing from all the volunteers.
相信有许多人也有满满的心得，但是因为时间的关系，我们没有办法在这里邀请大家分享。但是希望大家能利用
because of the time limit, we have a bit restricted the time. Thank you.
成就这样子的一个线上连线中英双语课程。
Want to seize this opportunity to this online class sharing. We want to thank all the team who work behind the scenes, work tirelessly behind the scene. And there's a lot of preparation and dedication behind the scene to get this program running. Now I'd like to introduce Sister Anita to share with us. Thank
各
you.
位师兄师姐，大家好，我是雪
Thank
梨的
you,
陈
brother,
慧玲
sister. I am
Anita。
from
我现
Sydney,
在
Sister
代表
Anita.
英语翻译
Yeah,
团
I
队
am
做一
now
个
represent the translation team. Yeah, we have in YouTube we have English link because this is our first time doing this, as we haven't done before. We are very fortunate to have this a fearless and driven team that always do ourselves to accomplish the task. We have volunteers from Taiwan, from Australia, Sydney, and from all other states. As you can see from the screen here, these are all the dedicated team working from behind the scene. To later, I will introduce them to you. We are very thankful to the Taiwan translation team. Because Brother Chen Ming gave us the PPT, we have the translation team from Taiwan to help us do the translation for us. So who provided the translation for us for our training session and provide us the guidance along the way. My work is to my role is as a translator and the coordinator of the translation team. So every time I'm very careful with the translation. So when I'm not sure or unsure about anything, I often ask the principal from our Searchy Academy School, Principal Betty Lin, who always provide a detailed explanation on things that I was required to translate, but have very little understanding. I also want to thank my fellow translators, Sister Julia and Sister Tiffany, too. When I had too much translation to do, they would take half of my workload. Sister Julia even inserts both Chinese and English subtitle into videos. So that providing simultaneous interpretation. So I do not have to translate and can have a mini break. So as you can see, like from the video, you can see Mandarin as well as English words on it. So even in the weekend, as she worked until mid-morning till 1 a.m. Thank you, Sister Julia. And Brother Freddie and Sister Tiffany also help out in this process. And often they also translate way past midnight. Our team members are also very professional and dedicated. Sister Tiffany and Brother Freddie will double check the translation on each presentation slide before they uploaded the file. It took me a while to share with you all about the tear and sweat behind the scene, and I still have not been able to name all the frontline translators. It served as a reminder to me that just how much preparation work is involved in order to provide translation service to you all. So now I would like to introduce to your frontline interpretation team, which is made up of Brother Freddie Liu, Brother Shang Lin, and Sister Tiffany too. They are graduated searchings. They also work from Monday to Friday, but they are still willing to spend their weekend to help provide translation. I'm very grateful of their selfless giving. From being on the translation team, I have learned that one person might not be able to do much. However, with a group of Dharma friends, our volunteers, with a common goal, we are able to complete any task that is thrown to us. So I'm grateful to have the opportunity to allow me to share my interpretation experience with you. Thank you very much. This is my sharing. Thank you, Sydney, Sister Hui Ling, translation team.
Yeah, thank you very much for the Anita from Sydney. And then now we give it the time to give it to Brother Chen. What is the gift he has given us?
各位菩萨家人们。
Yeah, every brother and sister.
最后我觉得也要感恩，就是澳洲跟纽西兰。
I have to thank you for the Australian and New Zealand family to give me this opportunity to give you a little bit of experiences and sharing.
分享的过程当中，其实也会有很多的收获跟成长。那
During my sharing, I will have some feeling and some improvement and some experiences. I have to thank you first. During this charity races, we will have a lot of come across a lot of difficulties. This is not an easy road. But I really appreciate everybody's your courage and your persistence. And now I will give you a small gift. This is the song.
And
I give you a song. The name of this song called is My Name is Courage. Every volunteer, every brother and sister in working in this Bodhisattva path, this is really diligent. This is Bodhisattva.
如果您现场有其他师兄师姐同在的话，也许你们可以手牵着手。
If you are with the other brother sister, and then you can hold hands on hands, then you can sing together. If you are alone at home, you can listen attentively. Then you can think about what you have done in your previous charity races, and maybe give you some courage when you continue to do charity races.
能打开另一扇窗，是谁挥着手上的翅膀，也能越过海洋？是谁被蒙住了双眼，依然看得见希望？是谁面对人情的冷暖，还是选择原谅？黑暗中只要一盏灯，就能把四周照亮。手心向下，你会发现心境更宽广。我的路不平坦，纵然还有一点难，我的泪混着汗水随风干。我的心不平凡，挫折让我更坚强，因为我的名字叫勇敢。我的路不平凡，纵然还有一点难，我的泪混着汗水随风干。我的心不平凡，挫折让我更坚强，因为我的名字叫勇敢。
那其实除了这首歌之外，我想
And except this song, this is the best gift. Is the Master give us the encouragement and blessings. And this for the end, the conclusion for this training course, I give you this share with you this Jingxi sentence. this is when you process confidence, perseverance, and courage, then there is nothing impossible in this world. Then thank you very much to give me this opportunity to share my experiences. Then hope that we continue to walk in this Bodhisattva path together. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Chen, to give us the encouragement, and thank you everybody's participation. And then we will have our two CEO from Australia and then New Zealand. This Wong Ping sister share first.
Master Chen Yang, Venerable Masters of the Abode, fellow brothers and sisters, and also G volunteers. How's everyone? Amitabha. First of all, I would like to thank Brother Chen Ming and Sister Jennifer Liu for their love and care of our New Zealand and Australian Sergi family. And work behind the scenes to make these online classes happen, creating good affinities with us. Thank you, Sister Jennifer Liu, for inviting Brother Chen Ming to help us. Thank you, Brother Chen Ming, for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your experiences in charity work with us. All these learnings will be remembered deep in our hearts. Actually, from your lessons, politeness and humble, and your speaking, your speech are very clear, and all your attributes you have taught us and display all these qualities when teaching us. You are like a role model to all of us. I'm sure everyone agree. So follow on, I am very thankful to lecturer, Brother Chen Ming. New Zealand charity team started reviewing and improving our current process and procedures accordingly. Like what our sister just now shared with us, that we all work together and take this opportunity to do the charity work. We have reached a consensus that though culture and situations often differ between countries, as long as principles and core values are upheld, suitable strategies can be derived to provide necessary assistance to the needs. For instance, during the pandemic lockdown, when home visits are prohibited, volunteers utilize a different form of media to reach out to the cases, using teleconferences and social media platforms such as Line to reach new case members, as well as follow up reviews with existing cases, bringing love and inspiring compassion to each individuals. So we have received positive feedback from 8 recipient families, which provided encouragement to our volunteers. The positive cycle continues to solidify our charity footsteps in New Zealand. Last but not least, we would like to express our gratitude to Sergi Australia for sharing cultivation workshop and training opportunity with us. Allow us to grow and develop with you. It's great to have you by our side. Thanks once again for the lecture and team organizing this lecture series. With great gratitude from Sergi New Zealand, we want to thank everyone, all the teams. Thank you, and we are always feeling very grateful. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Wan Ping, New Zealand CEO, sharing and appreciation. Now we want to invite Sergi, Australia CEO, Brother Xiong, to share with us. Master Chen Yan, Honorable Masters of the Abode, fellow brothers and sisters, and all Sergi volunteers, everyone good. I am Australian CEO. I'm here to share with everyone. Due to the pandemic, we are unable to attend the training in Taiwan. However, with common goals and consensus, we can conduct the training online. This is rare and precious opportunity. Thanks to the pandemic for presenting this challenge to us. And any situation is a double-edged sword that brings positive and negative effects. If we understand the Buddha's teaching and have correct perception of our surroundings, be grateful. Then we can transform our mind to be able to accomplish and task before us. Brother Chemin prepares presentations with rich materials and plenty of examples. I trust brothers and sisters have benefited from this class. By gaining a deeper understanding, working collaboratively and providing long-term companionship, we will be able to provide the most suitable and most needed support. While our principles are the same, each country can apply the principle using methods adjusted according to their cultural differences. We need a team to accomplish a complex task as such. Thank you for everyone involved in technical support and translation. We have team members reside in 2 different countries. In Taiwan, we have Sister Chu Ling, Sister Anita, Brother Kwan, Sister Vivian, Brother Chen Ming, Sister Julia, Brother Jeff. In Australia, we have Brother Alan, Brother Kongwei, Brother Chu Wen, Brother Peng, and the translation team includes Sister Anita, Brother Freddie, and Brother Xiang and Sister Tiffany. We also thank you from Perth, Brother. So in total, we have 14 people in the team. The training might have finished in seconds. The work behind the scene can take days and months. Without the contribution of everyone in the team, we will not be able to reserve the online training. Therefore, I want to express my gratitude to the team for their contribution. I also want to thank you everyone for your participation and cooperation. Givers and recipients might have different roles. However, we would not have been able to conduct this training without willing participants. May we share the common goal to relieve suffering and provide joy. Participants, whenever we are needed to achieve the common goals and fulfill our common goals to be awakened and benefit others. Let us advance on Sergi's Bodhisattva path. And thank you. Thank you, everyone. Due to the time limit, now we are here to share. So if everyone can come and join on the 23rd of August for another class. Thank you.